I'm Larry Menti. Coming up on Jersey Matters, is New Jersey going to start a state bank? Governor-elect Phil Murphy talked about it on the campaign, and New Jersey commercial banks are more than a little concerned. We'll talk to the president of the Banking Association. Also, instead of tearing down statues and memorials, a new one is going up to celebrate the survivors of slavery in New Jersey. And what about New Jersey wine? You may be surprised to hear it has a growing international reputation. But we begin the show today in Livingston, New Jersey. In a moment, we're going to talk with State Senator and former Governor Richard Codey about what he expects from the new governor. But first, a few words. Phil Murphy is being very secretive about his transition team. He's requiring all members of the transition team, hundreds of volunteers, to sign a non-disclosure form. Now, all governments are full of leaks because some people in the administration have their own agenda, and so they want to suck up to the media. We'll find out fairly quickly if a piece of paper can plug up those leaks, because we'll read about it in the newspaper. Now, there's one name that pops off the list of the hundreds of people on the transition team. Tom Steyer, the politically active billionaire hedge fund manager from San Francisco. Steyer made news recently because he's spending $20 million to try to get Donald Trump impeached. He's a big political donor and has given millions over the years to any Democrat who promises to try to stop the Keystone Pipeline from running from Canada through the Midwest down to the Gulf Coast. Trump approved the pipeline, and so Steyer wants him impeached. So what does that mean for New Jersey? Well, Phil Murphy put Tom Steyer on the Environmental Committee. So that probably signals that the 120-mile Penn East pipeline that runs from Pennsylvania across the Delaware River and through the Pine Barrens is probably not going to happen anytime soon. So what else is Phil Murphy going to do in his time as governor? Well, let's talk to a guy who has sat in that big office, Democratic State Senator and former Governor Richard Codey.
I want to talk to you about what everybody else seems to be talking about in the state, Phil Murphy, as he comes into office. It's interesting, I keep doing these interviews with office holders and people that run industries and are presidents of associations, and everybody's kind of trying to figure out who Phil Murphy is. Who is he?
He's a gentleman. He's a family man. Well, I consider him a good friend, somebody I admire and respect. And I think the people of New Jersey, regardless of where they feel on the issue, can respect him.
You've hired him before. He's
well, I didn't hire for the man that has that kind of money. I didn't need to hire him. There was no way I was going to pay him. That's like Walton giving money to the Rockefellers.
Well, you've appointed him before. I
appointed him back in '05 when I was governor, Larry, to look at the issue of pensions in the state of New Jersey and health care costs. Now I'm a Democrat. You're supposed to be totally pro public employees, and this is their pension money and their health care benefits. But I realized then that we had a looming issue here that we had to address. So he was head of a commission on pensions and benefits that looked at this issue, and frankly, he nailed it. And we did a lot of the things that he recommended. Some haven't been done yet, but hopefully we'll follow up on them. And he will start restoring that pension.
For Phil Murphy to deal with the pension issue, he's going to have to bring in new money.
Absolutely.
Agreed. There are some things on the horizon that could bring in new money.
That's
Let's
correct.
talk about one at a time.
Sure.
Legalizing marijuana.
Well, I don't think you should look at legalizing marijuana as a way to raise money. If it brings some revenue in, so what? Phil is looking at it on the social justice scale in terms of its proclivity to have more minorities arrested presently. To get that issue off the desk. But for me, I would prefer decriminalization myself. I'm concerned, but I understand his position. Hopefully, he and I can agree somewhere.
But it is going to bring in money. I mean, it's brought in money to Colorado and to Oregon and to Washington.
But I don't think enough to say that's why we're going to do it. We should never do it for money, and he agrees.
You would agree that we would do legalized sports betting for money, though, right?
Well, even there, Larry, I mean, listen, I grew up in the city, all right? And we're not going to have a bookmaker to call. So you would have to go to a particular place, a casino or a racetrack, to place the bet. So would you rather drive there to place the bet or call Bill the bookmaker who's going to extend you credit? You know what I mean? I'm just dealing with the street here. These people are talking about all these numbers, and by the way, there's 2 teams, and one of them has to win, and the vig is about 5%. So
if you talk to people at Monmouth Park, they claim it's going to be $1 billion just for New Jersey alone.
in their pocket, I wish that were true. No, that's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
No, but it'll help that industry, because that industry got pounded by Governor Christie. Pounded. All the money went to help Atlantic City, not the racing industry, who got destroyed by the casino.
So you're hoping the Supreme Court votes that New Jersey can have
That's fine,
legalized
but
sports
for
betting.
people to think that this is going to solve our economic problems is absolutely ridiculous.
Well, every little bit helps, right?
Every little bit helps, but put it in its proper perspective. Like there's things like the sales tax was lowered by 1/8%. It shouldn't have happened, but it did. Okay, so we got to restore that. Most people don't know that. Okay, it's not an issue that's going to hurt him publicly or lawmakers. So that's a nice chunk of change. We are on the way to eliminating the estate tax altogether. I think at the end of the day, we will say that no estate tax until you reach close to $6 million in totality. Then that estate would be taxed, kind of like the federal government. Heretofore, anything over $675,000, Larry, estate was taxed.
And the millionaire tax too, right?
That was wrong. That was wrong. Let's stay on this, okay?
Well, I want to
We've
ask you about that too.
No, I have no problem with that at all. Okay.
Right.
So we changed that, and that was right. So we're on the way to bringing it up to nothing, and I think we stop at over $5 million. We'll tax it, and any dollar over $5 million onto the millionaire.
Now do the millionaire tax.
That's not you, and it's not me.
No, neither of us are going to get hit by it. But is it right? Is it fair to do that?
I think it's fair, but it's what percentage do you increase it? And I know there's talk now about we're going to lose, you're going to lose, I'm going to lose. I don't know if you own the house, Larry. Our deduction of our property taxes, on the state and federal level. That's a hit for me and for you and your listeners. So should it be done understanding that these millionaires are going to get that hit? Should they get this other big hit? And will that drive a lot of them to Florida? That's all in the equation and on the table. I think somewhere within these lines, Larry, over the next few months will be that compromise, hopefully.
When we come back, I want to talk some more about where the money is going to come from. I also want to talk about somebody I believe is a friend of yours, Greg Schiano. And,
oh, absolutely.
And also several other topics when we continue our conversation with State Senator Richard Codey and former Governor Richard Codey when Jersey Matters continues.